we begin with the roll call, I will begin with a land acknowledgement. The Fresno State campus sits in the midst of the San Joaquin Valley, a valley rich in the traditions and representation of Native American peoples and culture. We are grateful to be in the traditional homelands of the Yokuts and Mono peoples, whose diverse tribal communities share stewardship over this land. Thank you for joining me in this acknowledgement. We will now move on to roll call. The Senate Recorder will take the roll call, and please respond when your name is called.
President Saleh.
Here.
EVP Prado.
Here.
VPF Guzman. Here. VPX Booth. Senator Armstrong. Senator Camlin. Here. Senator Carrillo. Senator Chavanian. Here. Senator Duran.
Here.
Senator Guzman.
Here.
Senator Hassan.
Here.
Senator Hernandez. Here. Senator Hill.
Here.
Senator Martinez.
Here.
Senator Marcos.
Here.
Senator Ornelas. Here. Senator Pierce. Here. Senator Renteria. Here. Senator Rivera.
Here.
Senator Seavey. Here. Senator Singh.
Here.
Senator May.
Here. Thank you, Senate Recorder. There are 16 senators present and 3 executives present. Quorum is met. We will now proceed to item 3.0, public comment. Public comment is a time for any member of the public to address the Senate on any issue affecting Associate Students, Inc. and or California State University, Fresno. You can either address your concern live during the meeting at the allotted time, or you can send your comment ahead of time via email to asi-vice-president@mail.fresnostate.edu. We'll now open the floor to public comment. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. If there is any public comment, please approach the podium. Seeing and hearing none, we shall be moving on to action item 4.0, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Hernandez?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second? Senator Renteria?
Second.
Are there any competing motions? Any discussion or debate? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The motion to approve the agenda unanimously passes. We'll now open the floor for motions on item 4.0, approval of the minutes. The Senate will review the minutes from the ASI Student Senate meeting held on September 17, 2025. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Martinez?
A motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second? Senator Durham?
I second.
Are there any competing motions? Any discussion or debate? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. The motion to approve the minutes from Wednesday, September 17, 2025 passes and the minutes are adopted. We'll now move forward to item 6.0, reports. The first item is 6.1, campus resource reports. Each speaker presenting the campus resource report will have 10 minutes to address the Student Senate. Are there any campus resource reports? Seeing and hearing none, we'll now move forward to item 6.2, campus administration reports. Each speaker presenting a campus administration report will have 3 minutes to address the Student Senate. Are there any campus administration reports?
Yes.
Thank you for coming. Please introduce yourself to the Senate and what you do at Fresno State, and we look forward to hearing your report.
And I have some slides, correct? Hello, everyone. For those of you I have not met, my name is Amy Allen. I'm the Associate Dean of Student Involvement. And today I'm here to talk to you about what is my favorite event every year, and that's commencement. So I'd like to show you a couple photos. Of course, everything we do in student involvement is to continuously bring about that Bulldog spirit. And so the first picture I'd like you to take a look at is Arizona State. This is their commencement where you see a sea of burgundy. And then the next one, University of Oregon, a sea of green. This is San Francisco State, all in purple, which is their school color. This is CSU Bakersfield in blue. And of course, we love to talk about Boise State, also in blue. The last photo is Fresno State, the red wave in black. So as you can probably tell, the proposal that we've had brought to us multiple times is to change the color of our regalia for our undergraduate students to red. So imagine, I know many of you are probably graduating, imagine walking out of the tunnel and the Save Mart Center, and that's what you see, the sea of red, because we are the red wave. So I'm not asking you to vote on this, but I am asking you to give it some thought and provide some feedback to me. The next slide has my contact information. Email, you can always stop by. My office is in RSU 314. You can call me, whatever works best for you. I'd love to hear your feedback. I've already discussed it with President Soleil, and so I know her thoughts on it, but I'd like to hear from as many students as possible before we make this decision. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of time because we do have to place orders for the spring semester commencement. So please, I invite you to stop by, email me, and give me some feedback on what your thoughts are. And so that's all I have for commencement. The other, just a point of note that I wanted to bring to you is that we are collaborating, student involvement is collaborating with technology services, and we're presenting what we're calling, it's gonna have another very catchy name, but right now it's a Tech Day event on November 3rd. And this is kind of an idea because we know that there are a lot of resources for students available surrounding technology and digital applications, but a lot of students don't know about them. So we're going to collaborate and co-host this event on November 3rd. I know ASI is going to be assisting with it as well, to bring students out and have multiple resources, everyone from NVIDIA, Google, we've reached out to Apple, so a lot of the large companies, but also a lot of our programs and services on campus. So just mark that date down, and as we solidify plans and get our marketing out, I just ask that you please share it. And let us know if you have any other suggestions or ideas of things that we might want to explore to bring on that day as well. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us today, Dr. Allen.
You're welcome.
We'll now be moving on to, or normally we'd be moving on to item 7.1, a conversation on the Learning Center's resources, but unfortunately our presenter couldn't be with us today, and she will be joining us at a future meeting, so we'll be moving on to discussion item 7.2. Executive Director Mary Willis will present to the cohort on the Career Development Center's resources, professional development opportunities, and opportunities for collaboration, followed by questions. The Student Senate has allocated 15 minutes for the item. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you everyone. Again, my name is Mary Willis. I'm the Executive Director of the Career Development Center, and wanted to provide you with a broad overview of what we're doing. So if we can move on to the first slide. What we're trying to accomplish with our student population is we want every student to leave with the ability to make an informed initial career decision. That means knowing themselves, knowing the labor market, and then knowing what the career opportunities are and how they all fit together for that individual. We want them to gain practical experience through internships or research or even on-campus student employment. The work you're doing here is a fine example of practical experience as well. Another thing that we're very focused on is equipping students to communicate effectively in terms of their skills, knowledge, and experience, and doing that in a way that's meaningful to their intended audience. That may be a prospective internship provider, an employer, or a graduate school selection committee. Students sometimes don't recognize that they have the skills that employers want, that they've developed those skills, and how to talk and write about them. We also want students to develop a professional network. Professional network will provide you with opportunities for mentorship, and then subsequently opportunities for opportunities. And then we want them to be successful in how you go about job or opportunity search. How do you make those connections? What strategies are the most effective? And just quickly, an overview of our services as they are now. We provide career counseling and advising, both virtually and in person, which can be anything from early in the career development process, which is assessing your skills, values, interests, personality, and then the career exploration component, then more the job readiness aspects, which is how to prepare for interviews, how to develop your resume, and cover letter and grad school materials. The Career Cafe is open, it's drop-in, it's led by our career peer mentors who are your fellow students. And then we have a wide variety of workshops and webinars, and all our webinars have been recorded and are on our YouTube channel. We have Hire Fresno State, which is our online job and internship posting, which includes on-campus jobs as well. Internships, we have a university internship coordinator, and we work to cultivate new internships. I'll also be speaking briefly about the new Bulldog Experience Grant, which is a result of the new student fee. We have we have a career fair, 2 of them, next week. October 8th is our STEAM fair, so science, technology, engineering, agriculture, and manufacturing. And I hate to rattle off the whole name of the second one, I call it the Everything Else Fair. But all business, media, public service, health, and creative careers, all the things. And that is Thursday. Both are held from 11 to 3 in the Rees Ballroom. And we have, of course, our professional clothing closet where students can get a complete outfit each semester during their time here with us. And then our website. Let me go on to the next slide. Real briefly, how we've structured is we have career liaisons assigned to specific colleges. I won't go into each one, but every single college has a counselor, advisor assigned to them, and they work with the students, they work with the faculty in that college, and with employers who are related to the careers that that college tends to align with. Okay, next one. Real quickly, and today I did not have the time to really make this one look pretty. The Bulldog Experience Grant, we have about $1.3 million from the student fees that we will be deploying to students and to address some issues. We have students who are required to do internships for graduation. Either it's the graduation, their capstone requirement, or it's like an option. You can do research or an internship. So for students who are in that circumstance and have secured an unpaid internship, we will be working, and we're still working out the details with financial aid because we don't want to negatively impact anybody's financial aid by offering these funds. So it's a little more complicated than one would hope. But we're looking at a proposed, and this is just our first iteration, students in an internship that is 40 hours minimum, they can get up to $1,000 for the semester. 90 hours, $1,500. Minimum of 120, $2,000. And 150 hours or more, $2,500. It will be paid at the end of the semester after we've confirmed that hours were completed. Next slide. We also have tools that are available to students. These are available on our website, and these are free, well, I'll say depending, free to students. We have the Focus 2 assessment. It's a career assessment software that any student and even prospective students can utilize. Candor is what we call a career conversations platform. We're building that to bring on alumni so if you want to explore a career, you can talk to one of our alums. We also have other partners throughout the country who are willing to talk to our students. Quincia is an AI resume review platform and mock interview platform because, honest to goodness, humans are not reading your resumes the first time. Who makes a decision about whether or not you get to a human reviewer is an algorithm in many, many cases now. So we want to have you creating resumes that won't get thrown out just because you didn't format it correctly or or use the right words. Standout is another mock interview software. And then, not so much for you all, but we've created, and I'll show you a little bit about that in a second, career awareness, career readiness assignments course for faculty where they can bring career readiness and career assignments directly into their curriculum as it aligns. So myself and Professor Betsy Hayes have been working on this, and we're working with faculty to integrate it into their courses. We also have our career checklist, which is the next slide. We have checklists of what students should be doing at each and every stage of their academic career. We're hoping to integrate this into a platform where we can track students, whether or not, how are they progressing in that, and then also give them instruction on how to do the things that we've suggested that they do each year over and above their coursework. Next slide. Okay, one of the things that, and you can just go on to the next one. One of the things that we have to do is we have to move to what we call a career ecosystem. I currently, and just today, now have 6 counselors for 25,000 students. You can do the math, okay? So what's so incredibly important is that we embed career awareness and career readiness into the curriculum, so in a way that makes sense, so that it's unavoidable for students, so they can't leave here like I did with no clue, and I left here a long time ago, with no clue how to move forward. So one of the things towards that is, again, this career, this course where they can pull in different assignments into their Canvas courses to add to their courses. Keep going. We also have developed the Career Readiness digital badges, which faculty can pull a portion of that assignment into their, I've got it in my IMTD, which is an internship class, 194, where students have to complete the first section of the digital badge and provide one example. We currently have 6 badges available. You can see those. And then we have coming equity and inclusion, technology, and verbal communication. Also, just as an example, in the career ecosystem, we really want to work with faculty to connect the dots between the skills that you're developing in the course and how they apply to the real world. So, for example, I took a sample GE biology and broke it down into what activities or knowledge is building each of those skills and helping students understand, even because I used to think as a psych major, I'm like, why do I have to take biology? That's what I pay a doctor for, right? However, I'm developing skills in that course that are transferable to my future career. And then next slide. And then this is, we're gonna do the same thing with majors, is as a major as a whole. In fact, I just spoke with the folks in linguistics about this, that, okay, this major is specifically developing these skills through these activities. So making that connection and teaching students how to reflect and to document what they're doing in their classes, in their club activities, in their internships, in their volunteer service, in a way so that when you're out ready for your job search, you can speak confidently that you're ready to go. Okay, next slide, if there is one. Nope, that's the end of the story. That was the super quick edition of what we're trying to do. Again, the career ecosystem model is something that we're really looking forward to do, where we're empowering everybody on campus. We call it Career Everywhere, to work with students to get them feeling they're ready for the next step.
And then, does any senator have any question for presenting today? Senator Sebi?
Hi.
Hi.
I do have questions. So thanks for all this, because I mean, I've been to the closet and I've gone up with some resume help, but a lot of these other tools I didn't know existed.
And just note, they're on the website.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna go there.
we'll dig it around. But yeah, and that's what we need to, that's where the assignments come in handy, because then students are, and I don't in any way want to disparage you, or anyone, a lot of your colleagues won't do things that are good for them unless it's an assignment.
That's fair. That's fair. I know, I've been here for 5 years and I haven't visited the website yet. So yes, I understand where you're coming from. I have a kind of specific question
Sure.
about the grant
Yes.
for the internships. So I'm considering doing an internship class next semester, and it's with the linguistics department. And
Which is required, I believe. It's your capstone.
yes. But the grant that they have for it doesn't cover graduate students.
This should, it should, it just isn't going to cover, clinical.
Okay.
Okay, if it makes sense, there's certain occupations where you have to go through, licensure and special kinds of, internship and practicum. For example, there's no way we can afford to fund nursing students
Okay.
in terms of their practicum. We can't fund MFT students because it's thousands of hours.
Yeah.
So we're trying to be as equitable as possible. So it should be available. And if we're building this airplane as we fly it, so to speak, and my intention is that there's an application process. We will let all the internship faculty know, particularly those with required courses or option of 1 or 2 courses, that this is available so that they will share that with their students. And we can also, our internship coordinator, for those, where are we at? We're about 55 out of the 70 plus courses actually work with our university internship coordinator. So we know, because of that process, who's in an unpaid internship. The courses that don't collaborate and use our system, we don't know. So we'll do the outreach that way, to just say, hey, if you're in an unpaid internship, and there may be some additional things that we'd like students who receive the stipend to do as well, around some of the documentation, and perhaps participating in the high impact practice symposium as well, so that you get to showcase your amazing internship.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome. And can I ask a follow-up question? Okay. For it came and it went. It's here.
It's okay. That's me every day.
Yes. Okay. So for I know in my graduate cohort, me and a lot of my classmates were wanting to get into higher education, teaching at university. And that seems to be a very unique career pathway that I don't really see discussed or highlighted enough. And I'm wondering, is that something that you do focus on, aside of applying for like grad schools, but actually entering into
absolutely. Absolutely. We work with particularly each of our liaisons will work with grad students as well in terms of career exploration. I just met with Professor Elvin for quite a while today, discussing some strategies to really get you students in both general linguistics and the TESOL programs familiar with the different career options that regardless of what you think the traditional path is, also the skill set that you're building that are transferable to a myriad of occupations as well. Higher ed is an interesting beast in and of itself, and probably, I don't want to be negative, but it's a little tough in the CSU and the UC, and it's an interesting place to be right now in terms of opportunities. When I was a student here, for my graduate program, to a small school. I worked initially at Fresno Pacific, making next to nothing, but it was a full-time job.
Yeah.
And now I'm here, but that was a long time.
Thank you so much for that information.
You're
I appreciate
welcome.
it.
Are there any additional questions? Thank you for coming to speak with us today. We appreciate the, oh, sorry, Senator Martinez.
No worries, sorry. I was just wondering, when it comes to the career development centers, I love the career development center.
Thank you.
I'm a big person on career development and all that good stuff. And so, has there been any struggles with you guys have seen with getting students to utilize your resources? And if
Well,
so,
partially, and I broke it down based on individual. Sorry, my phone's blown up for bizarre reasons. With what our capacity is, and we saw the largest number of students in individual appointments, and at the last year at 5.5 FTE, and that FTE includes graduate assistants, because we had a retirement, but we saw the largest number of average students. So we went from like 400 per year per FTE to 650 last year. In addition to doing career presentations, the events that are exhausting, and all the other things that I asked my team to do to keep the center running. With that, through appointments, we saw, in terms of unique individuals, 10.97% of the student population. Through presentations, again, unique students, 17.6, I think, and I'm just pulling this from the top of my head. And then in terms of all of our various touch points, be it the Career Cafe, I didn't include the closet, but the Career Cafe, appointments, presentations, recruiting events, networking events, we interacted, the 6 counselors, with 30% of the student population. But that's still not enough. That's why it needs to be embedded, because again, the challenge is students are busy and they're focused on the end game, which is passing this class. You know, it's kind of, I just got to get through this class or this semester, and I totally understand that. But having it embedded as part of curriculum will ensure that every student engages with this content and is well equipped to go to whatever is next.
awesome, thank you. I guess in the meantime, what can the colleges do to help educate students and urge them to use the resources?
Yeah, well, in terms of the colleges as a whole, and we also have an opportunity, and I'm certainly open, I think we've talked about it, we have a Career Champions program, and that's also on our website. Peer leaders can certainly participate in that. Faculty, right now we have about 200 faculty, staff, and administrators who are designated career champions. We have a parents edition of that. We're just launching with the Aller Lifelong Learning Institute, the seniors that are on campus taking courses. I'm actually teaching a course this semester to recruit them in as career champions and to participate in our Candor platform. With the so we have that, and if faculty, student leaders, staff, we have almost every single advising center has all their staff as career champions. And that's where we provide additional training on career development related topics so that you can have what we call, again, intentional career conversations. Because the first place students go for help is their peers. The last place they go, and this is across the country, this is national statistics, is our office. So, and we do this for a living. I refer to my staff as career nerds, and we love what we do, but we're the last place students go.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to speak with us, and we appreciate all the work you do at Fresno State.
All right, and if any of you have any questions, Maris can connect you with me. It's really easy. M. Willis at CSU Fresno. You know the rest. All right, thank you.
We'll now be moving on to discussion item 7.3, bylaw revision recommendations. Legal Committee Chair Parker Hill will be seeking input from senators regarding possible revisions to the ASI bylaws. Senators are encouraged to share any recommendations, concerns, or areas where clarification or updates may be helpful. Feedback will guide the committee's work in reviewing and drafting proposed amendments for future Senate consideration. The Student Senate has allocated 15 minutes for this item, and the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm not sure I need to be at the podium for this, but I wanted to stand. Hi everybody, I'm happy here to be your secretary. The big part of that is that I'm in charge of the legal committee. I'm the chair of it. What we're going over is the bylaws. That consists of the rules, everything that's going on with us. Your positions, especially with exec, those goals are outlined. Elections are outlined, even though there's the elections committee, but everything with line of succession and obligations is there, right? And we're going to be digging into that, but it's a long document. And I don't think the intention is to read every single sentence of it. We don't want to waste anyone's time. There's some things that just need to be cleaned up. But there are some things that are very important, and we are getting to them. Freddie has a lot of understanding of the bylaws, and so he's been a great asset for that. But what we really want to do is solicit your guys' opinion, and it doesn't just have to be right now, but to ask you guys, what could we do for you? What do you think needs to be adjusted with the bylaws to serve the students better here on campus? And so at the moment, I am happy to hear anything. I may not have as many answers for you guys, but you're all welcome to come to one of our legal committee meetings. But yeah, that's what's up.
Does anyone have any input or comments or discussion? Senator Setti?
I have a question. Mostly because I don't know if this would be a bylaws thing, but I don't know about any of you other senators, but I still haven't gotten access to email my constituents. And I feel like that should be something that we should all be able to do as senators of colleges, is having access to the students' emails so that we can, contact them with things. I've currently only been able to go to the dean, who doesn't even have access to those emails, who then has to send stuff to the faculty, who then we have to trust that they will send it to students, and I think that's a really terrible way to try and reach students with things like resources, events, news, updates. And I was hoping that maybe if anywhere in the bylaws we can make that an official ASI thing, is access to our students' emails instead of having to solicit like Instagram follows or something.
I'm going to yield the floor really quick to our operations manager, Elizabeth.
So I've already done the background digging on this, and it really is, it's a decision of your college administration to be able to give you that information. Because
said she didn't have that access.
that's what I mean, is that for us, there's unequivocally, we do not have the authorization to give you guys lists of student names and emails and phone numbers, etc. That's something that we simply just don't have the authorization to do. The only reason that we as ASI would ever have access to that information is for elections and to send the Bulldog blog out. But then we as staff have the authorizations to see sensitive student information. You guys do not, and we cannot separate those lists out, because normally when we do this request for information, we see everything, GPA, email, etc. So it's something that the school would never allow senators to have access to, is that sort of information.
So you can't separate out names and emails from sensitive personal
It's
information?
not our system.
Well, I know, but I'm saying if we could get the people who control the system to allow us to.
But it wouldn't be a bylaw change in our internals. It would be a negotiation and a discussion with the school on how they do their privacy.
Right, that's what I was wondering. I didn't know if it was a bylaw thing or at least part of our, like, as roles, being in contact with our constituents, right? Instead of, not being able to have discussions or share information easily.
No, I do understand, but it's we don't own the information,
Mhm.
right? So we no matter what decisions we make internally, we cannot do it without authorization from the entity, which is the university.
But who would be the person?
Well,
If
at
you
this point, it's the registrar's office, because they're the ones that handle all student information.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like an interesting opportunity, and if that is out of our purview, then I'd be happy to pursue that as a senator, maybe not as the chair of the legal committee. But the thing is, just feel free to reach out. I'm trying to be around the office. Bring it up when you want to, if there's anything else.
Does anyone else have any recommendations?
And it will come through the Senate again to vote on amendments and adjustments through the bylaws, but it's just getting those drafted and how we want them done at the meetings.
Thank you, Chair Hill, for seeking our input. We appreciate you thinking. We'll now be moving on to action item 7.4, elections timeline revision. Operations Manager Lazitsa will consider proposed changes to the elections code, including revisions to key approval dates and form rules for the elections agency. The Student Senate has allocated 10 minutes for this item. Operations Manager Lazitsa, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. So when the Student Senate implemented the new election code in April 30th of this year, we made a lot of aggressive changes. We took our 9-page election code, we destroyed it, and then we implemented a new about 68, 70-page election code. Some of the adjustments that were made on there, to the credit, I was the EVP who was in the legal chair that was making these adjustments. I was being overzealous with the timeline of approving the election. All the materials are ready, but we do not yet have 2 election commissioners because it's too early in the semester to really hire them. We're starting our interviews for them next week. But as the election code stands right now, your next meeting, you guys would have to approve all of the details of the election, which is mid-October. And it is my belief that it is too early. I think that this should be done at the end of November. These are my own codes, so this is a mistake that I made. And now that I'm really over considering it, I think it would be a mistake. Another one would be, is that within the elections agency, which is the body that handles all the election matters, the core structure of it is the operations manager, which is my role, and the 2 student election commissioners. Last year there was only 1. So that's the core operational body. Then the 4 executives within that body. Also when it comes to critical choices and votes, right, when it comes to approving the first version of the timeline before it comes to Senate to approve, that is the election agency. It would be 7 people in that body. If a executive says that they are running, they are not eligible to be in the agency because they cannot have their hands affecting or editing anything involving election if they're going to be running. That's just in the code. So edit number 1 would be that if a executive steps down from the agency, that a proxy will have to be declared from within the Senate. I found this to be problematic in further review because that means that it would stop senators from running. So if you commit to join the agency, you yourself, let's say as of September when the agency would start meeting, as of September and October, you would be ineligible for the election, and then maybe you would decide in January, February, maybe I want to run, right? And I'm not trying to take, let's say all 4 executives get off of the election agency that year. I'm not trying to just take 4 senators out of the pool and take away their chance to run for the election. So this first adjustment would be that once an executive resigns from their post at the agency because they might be running or declaring to run or considering it at the very least, because once you make a vote in the agency deciding anything on the election, whether you want it to or not, you are not allowed to run. There is no exceptions. If you vote on anything in the agency, you are not allowed to run, no exceptions at all. So instead of keeping it at 7, as every executive would resign, it would reduce the quorum by 1, and then in the scenario where all 4 executives would resign because they might run, we would just have that operational core, which would be the 2 election commissioners and the operations manager. And so yeah, so that's the first adjustment for this section. And then for the second section, sorry if you can scroll. which is what I pretty much pointed out, which is moving the deadline for approving the election timeline from second regularly scheduled Senate meeting in October to the first meeting in November, if not to the final meeting of the fall semester. Right? So yeah, I already explained that one. And so the third one would be a adjustment based off of the first, which is there was a voting count requirement for the agency, which was 6 out of 7. And this would reduce proportionally as executives would resign from the agency. Any questions?
Seeing no questions, we'll now open the floor for motions on item 7.4, elections timeline revision. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Rivera,
I don't know the proper words to say, but I have motion.
to approve or to
I approve it. To approve it.
And then, is there a second? Senator Martinez,
Second that motion.
are there any competing motions on the floor? Any discussion or debate? We'll now do a roll call vote, so you can vote aye, nay, or abstain, starting with Senator Armstrong.
Aye.
Senator Cameling? Aye. Senator Chavanian?
Aye.
Senator Durham?
Aye.
Senator Guzman? Senator Hazan?
Aye.
Senator Hernandez?
Aye.
Senator Hill?
Aye.
Senator Martinez?
Aye.
Senator Marcos?
Aye.
Senator Anellis? Senator Pierce?
Aye.
Senator Renteria?
Aye.
Senator Rivera?
Aye.
Senator Savi?
Aye.
Senator Singh?
Aye.
And Senator Vang?
Aye.
The motion to adopt the new election revisions passes unanimously. We'll now be moving on to action item 7.5, resolution to support immigrant students. Senator Hazan and Senator Anellis will present a resolution in support of immigrant students. The resolution is being proposed by the External Affairs Committee with input from the Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee, in addition to receiving approval from the Executive Committee. The cohort will vote to approve or deny the resolution. The Student Senate has allocated 10 minutes for this item, and the floor is yours.
Hi guys, thank you, Edie Prado. If you guys can just open up the resolution, I want to read it, and if you guys can follow along, that would also be great. So, this resolution is in support of all immigrant students. Whereas the Associated Students Inc. Incorporated at Fresno State hold the direct responsibility to uphold and protect student rights and interests both on campus and beyond, and whereas it is one purpose of ASI to serve such student needs and higher education policy at the system-wide, state, and federal levels, recognizing the dynamic nature of these external entities and the duty to pursue action that responds and addresses the ever-changing needs of students. And whereas the university mission statement for 8 PM 102 designates the foremost commitment to facilitate a culturally diverse environment in which all students have the space to develop a community founded upon mutual respect and shared efforts, in which individuals can communicate openly and work together to enrich the lives of all and to further the growth and excellence of the university, end quote. And whereas the university maintains a goal of civically engaging students and preparing them for productive careers and responsible world citizenship, in which such responsible world citizenship shall also entail a strong dedication to sharing the voice of other students regardless of background or immigration status. And whereas immigrant students, including but not limited to undocumented students, students from mixed status families, dreamers, ITIN holders, visa holders, and international students, face unique challenges and uncertainties in pursuing their higher education due to federal immigration policies. And whereas Senate Bill 98 Perez of the 2025-2026 legislature, co-sponsored by the Cal State Student Association and signed into law by Governor Newsom on September 20th, 2025, requires California State Universities to notify as specified all students, faculty, staff, and other campus community members who work on campus when the presence of immigration enforcement as defined is confirmed on campus, end quote. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, Associated Students Incorporated at California State University, Fresno, firmly stand in solidarity with students of all immigration statuses in urging the Fresno State Administration to protect students from harassment, intimidation, unfair investigation, and deportation. And let it be further resolved that the university recognizes that immigrant and undocumented students are an integral part of our community by acknowledging that many students face systemic barriers such as limited access to financial aid, legal protection, counseling, and student support services, including but not limited to the Dream Center, and let it be further resolved that the university continues to provide financial and organizational support to on-campus resources, including but not limited to the Dream Center, International Office, College Assistant Migrant Program, CAMP, etc., that focus on the well-being of our immigrant population on campus. And let it be further resolved that the university supports the rights and safety of students, especially beyond campus, by connecting students with community resources, including but not limited to food, healthcare, housing, legal counsel, and actively partnering with local community benefit and immigration rights organizations to host workshops, provide legal clinics, and create community engagement opportunities. And let it be further resolved that the university makes a priority of informing students when immigration enforcement is on campus in compliance with SB 98. And let it be further resolved that the university establishes and protects student privacy by refusing to release information on the immigration status of students and campus community members. And let it be further resolved that the Associated Students Incorporated urge the university to refuse to comply with immigration authorities and mass individuals regarding deportations, arrests, sweeps, and or raids. Finally, be it further resolved that this joint resolution be distributed to, but not limited to, the following persons or entities: President of California State University, Fresno, CSU Chancellor, CSU Board of Trustees, Academic Senate of the CSU, Academic Senate of Fresno State, CSU Campus Senate Chairs, California Faculty Association, CFA Statewide President, CFA California State University Fresno Chapter President, California State Student Association, the Mayor of the City of Fresno, ASI President of California State University Fresno, State Assembly Members and State Senators, California U.S. Senators, and Regional U.S. Congressional Representatives for districts.
Are there any questions or discussions on the resolution? Senator Martinez?
Hi everyone, I am the Vice Chair of the External Affairs Committee, and I do want to just urge the importance of this resolution. As you guys heard, we really took a lot of care and thought into the resolution. The biggest thing is that I like to highlight is Fresno State is a diverse campus, and us as ASI, our job is to help students, and that should be regardless of their background and their status, more importantly. So I do want you guys to consider the fact that we are in this role to help students to better our campus. At the end of the day, students come here for their education, and they should at no point feel that their education is at risk, that they are unsafe, and they're not supported. So I just wanted to share that, and I'm very proud of this resolution. I'm very proud of the team, the committee that worked on it, and so hopefully you guys take all this into consideration.
Senator Nels?
Thank you, Senator Martinez-Villa. I also kind of wanted to emphasize that this isn't just for immigrant students, this is for all students. I wanted to emphasize that this isn't just for immigrant students, this is for all students, because if one student's impacted, then who knows, maybe someone from the class can be impacted as well. So we're doing this to protect all students. It's not just specifically impacting immigrant students, it's impacting anyone who has immigrant families or anyone who has friends. I cannot imagine having ISOL campus and seeing them detaining some students, and I myself wouldn't feel good. So this is also a way for students to know what to do if there is ISOL campus and kind of comply with SB 98 and make sure that we are in compliance with everything that's been happening right now. Especially at a time where we don't really know what's going on with immigration laws, and it's a really scary time for a lot of us.
Senator Guzman?
I also just want to emphasize this as well. I know that we haven't seen any type of law immigration enforcement on our campus, but they are very heavily present in Fresno in general. And so I think this resolution would just be one step further to ensuring that this is preventative. So yes, it's very, very important, but also this is also ASI's mission in serving students and protecting students. So again, just want to reiterate that and reemphasize how important that this resolution is to our community.
Any additional discussion or questions? If passed, this would be something that ASI would send to campus partners and and post on their Instagram as well. We'll now open the floor for motions on item 7.5, resolution to support immigrant students. Senator Durham,
I motion to approve the resolution.
is there a second? Senator Pierce,
I second.
are there any competing motions? Any discussion or debate? We'll now do a roll call vote. Once again, you can vote aye, nay, or abstain, starting with Senator Armstrong.
Aye.
Senator Kamling,
Aye.
Senator Chavanian,
Aye.
Senator Durham,
Aye.
Senator Guzman,
Aye.
Senator Hazan,
Aye.
Senator Hernandez,
Aye.
Senator Hill,
Aye.
Senator Martinez,
Aye.
Senator Marcos,
Aye.
Senator Ornelas,
Aye.
Senator Pierce,
Aye.
Senator Renteria,
Aye.
Senator Rivera,
Aye.
Senator Seti,
Aye.
Senator Singh,
Aye.
Senator Vink. The motion to pass the resolution passes unanimously. We'll now be moving on to action item 7.6 and 7.7, consent calendars. Moving on to action item 7.6, financial consent calendar. ASI Vice President of Finance, Guzman, will present the financial consent calendar containing all proposed grants. The Student Senate shall vote to affirm or deny the consent calendar. The Student Senate has reserved 5 minutes for this item. The floor is yours.
Hey guys, so again, any questions I can answer them. But essentially, we just had 3 that were over the limit to come to Senate. So, and they were post-war grants. There was one for the Bulldog Pickleball Club for $3,000, one for the Blue State Women's Volleyball Club for $3,000, and then one for the Fresno State Wrestling Club for $2,805. And if you have any questions on who got denied and all that, it's all in the minutes, but obviously you can come talk to me. Yeah.
I'll now open the floor for motions. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Hernandez,
I motion to approve.
is there a second? Senator Kamling,
I second.
are there any competing motions? Any discussion or debate? We'll do a voice call vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? The motion to approve the consent calendar passes unanimously. We'll be moving on to action item 7.7, the presidential consent calendar. ASI President Camila Saleh will present the consent calendar containing all proposed ASI committee appointments. The Student Senate shall vote to affirm or deny the consent calendar, and the Student Senate has reserved 5 minutes for this item. The floor is now yours.
Hi guys, yet another consent calendar because appointments are always happening. So these are all of them. There's 2 searches, there's a mural subcommittee, and there's like 6 to 5 AI committees. I got a whole memo for that. And so I did them based on like interests because I've had senators reach out to the VP of Tech directly to be on these committees. I've had senators reach out to me to be on these committees because they've heard talk about the task force. And then they also wanted executives on it, and so that's how I structured it. And I did ask everyone beforehand. So hopefully you guys get emails soon from the chairs telling you when it's meeting, and because I asked for times and dates and I was not provided that. And if you're appointed and it ends up not working, just let me know, and there will be a new appointment on yet another consent calendar to be approved by the Senate. So if you have any questions or if you have any interest in anything, please let me know. And yeah.
I'll now open the floor for motions. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Martinez,
Motion to approve the consent calendar.
is there a second? Senator Seti,
I second.
are there any competing motions? Any discussion or debate? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? The motion to approve the consent calendar passes unanimously. Moving on to info item 7.8, IRA updates presented by Operations Manager Lazitza and President Saleh. The Student Senate has allocated 5 minutes for this item, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. So we've been getting, we've been dealing with the issue with IRA for the last few months, and I wanted to give you guys and to the student populace, me and President Saleh, we wanted to give a proper presentation on what IRA is, what is going on with IRA, what are the solutions that we have, slated and we're discussing for IRA. So I'm just going to go off to the slide right now. So the instruction-related activities, hence IRA, fund supports programs and activities that enhance the educational experience but are not fully funded on their own. IRA is a supplementary funding source for student clubs, organizations, and academic departments, or at least that was the intention when it was first implemented. DIRE committee, which is made up of students, faculty, and administrators, reviews applications and it allocates funds. Historically, ASI has managed the applications themselves, while the Academic Resources Office, or ARO, under the provost, oversees the budget and disbursement with final approval by the university president. Starting this year, this is the first year, ARO is going to handle the applications as well, but student representatives are still going to be appointed by the president and by you guys, the Senate, to review and approve funding requests. That stays the same. So sorry, go to the next one. So then how is IRA funded? IRA is funded, you guys know that we just had a student fee increase last year. This is coming not from that student fee increase, but generally from the student fees that we pay. So IRA is funded by a $30 student fee each semester directly towards the IRA fund for travel. Unchanged for the past, well, travel is not the only thing the IRA thing covers, but it's mostly for travel. Unchanged for the past 10 years and more. The recent student fee increase does not contribute towards IRA. It was not part of the allocation pool. All of the things that were allocated to in the recent student fee increase was the student cupboard, CCGC, the disability center, or the SSSD, the Collegian, ASI also got 200,000 of it that we implemented into our club grants and other line items that we have. But no fund or no student fee increase was ever directed towards this IRA fund that students use. What was that? Yeah, and then, what, the increase? Yeah, but it also hasn't been increased. The amount has been flat. So what's happening now? Before COVID, fall IRA requests were about $2 million, roughly, with a roughly $1.25 million awarded each fall. During COVID, a temporary surplus formed, and only, let's say they, awarded the normal amount, which is about the 1.25 million, but then only 145K was spent out of what was awarded. All of that unspent money got directed to the surplus budget for IRA, and then that was dispersed in the next following years. That's where the surplus started, because the questions are how did disbursements get so high, and why are they so low now? But requests surge afterwards, peaking at $9.3 million in requests, with the same 1.2 million that we have available to disperse in the fall. So that was, the year prior. With the surplus gone, IRA has returned to its pre-COVID funding levels, which has not changed because of that fee that has stayed the same in the last decade. But requests still remain 4 to 5 times higher, as it was during peak COVID and after COVID was ending officially. The gap between requests and resources means allocations are way tighter, while the demand is just higher than it ever used to be before COVID started. DIRE committee is creating new rubrics and policies to make sure the funding is distributed more fairly and transparently, because before they did not have the issue where they got about $2 million in requests on average, 1.5 to 2 million. They would disperse 1.2 million, so that means they only had to decide between not awarding 600 or 800,000, which didn't mean that they denied people flat out. It meant that they gave them a smaller percentage of what they asked for. So, sorry, in this, go ahead, next slide, yeah. So this is more or less like a visual estimation of how much we award year to year, right? So ever since 2018, we would award less than the 2 mil, so this is about like the 1.2 million, as I said. But the amount requested we had was about 2 million. Then we have 24-25, and then we hit almost $10 million worth of requests, but our number is only a little over the $2 million because that was what we were working with on the surplus. So that extra money was based on the surplus we still had. Sorry, next slide. And then this is the raw numbers of what was requested, right? So that there's full transparency of what is going on. So you see that first year, 2018, 2019, we have that fall requested of 2 million, awarded 1.2, fall spent nearly exactly what was awarded. Then we have 2019 and 2020. You have a higher request amount. Why? This is the first year where COVID hits, right? This is also where the state of California has travel bans implemented to states like Texas and etc. So even if a club or an organization were to have gotten their funding, they weren't able to spend it to actually go to that state. So it just went back into the IRA fund. So this is the first year where you notice our fall awarded is higher than it normally is the year afterwards, 2020 to 2021, right? Because we had more money to allocate. Then we go down a little bit in 21, 22, and then as of 22, 23, that's where it really picks up. The amounts requested go up, and the fall awarded go up. And then we hit all the way back here. The issue is last year, the IRA committee was not aware that they would be running out of the surplus, which is a mistake on the committee. If they were aware that they would be running out of the surplus, it would be probable that they might have been able to extend out exactly what they had to account for the fall late IRA call. That did not happen, right? That is a mistake on the committee, absolutely. But this is also this was never going to be accounted for as a regular funding source for IRA. Because now we've settled back 25-26 into exactly what we used to disperse back in 2018, after the surplus has been gone, which is unfortunate, but it is also the reality of the situation. We don't want to be dishonest. And then President Saleh can take over for what's next for IRA.
Yay! Okay, so what's next for IRA is, as I'm sure announcements, I made an announcement actually at a Senate meeting a month and a half ago, but the late IRA fall call for 2025 will not open up due to limited funds. So the IRA committee met, I would say about 2 weeks ago, and again, it's made up of ASI appointed students, and I chair it as ASI president, and university appointed faculty and administrators. Voted not to hold a late call this year due to the fact that there is a limited amount of funds, and what is projected to be asked for kind of started making what happened last semester happen again, where people think they got cut because there was just not enough money to supply the demand. But IRA is still working and the committee is still working to work on long-term solutions so that this doesn't happen, so that student organizations are able to sustain themselves in addition to what they can get from IRA. So the future call cycles are under discussion, and this is with the intention of returning to 2 calls per year when resources allow, because this year, while there might not be a late fall call, we do recognize that a lot of transfers and transfer clubs come, for example, in the fall. We have conferences that come up in the spring or events, and so due to that, a lot of people are not able to apply in the spring for this coming year, and so they need to apply for a late or supplemental call for the spring. And so we're working on allowing that to happen and making sure our resources work on that and trying to structure how much will be awarded in the spring for this coming year and how much will be left over for the late and supplemental call. And kind of what's next in addition is we are really trying to develop long-term development so that it can meet campus needs, because IRA is here to support students and student events, whether it's on or off campus, and it's a really important resource for our student life and what students needed to be able to develop as professionals and academics. And so we're restructuring that process so that both applications and awards are managed directly by the Academic Resource Office, which is under the provost. ARO, in addition, is what it's really known as, for greater consistency, so that there's nothing getting stalled between the 2 channels. We're creating a defined rubric and updating policies to ensure allocations are equitable and transparent. And so ASI has worked on one. We've collaborated with ARO. I brought it to the Dean's Forum so that, because we want to restructure where the colleges are also helping us gather the applications, so it's not based per club but per event. And I presented it to the president, and so we're just trying to get everyone's input, and I will send it out to you guys too. I presented it to the committee, and the goal really is to try a rubric for this coming IRA, and if it decides it doesn't work, then the committee can either restructure or try something new. We're also exploring additional funding opportunities. We have a meeting with the interim dean of graduate studies in I think a week, and so it's October 9th, so yes, a week, or a day. So we're trying to figure out a way to kind of make a supplemental research grant with ASI and their divisions, so that because a lot of the issues, a lot of spring conferences are happening, and so a lot of students need research funding. So we're trying to figure out a way to be able to provide that still. That's underway, and hopefully if it works out, a proposal will be coming to the Senate. We're also, as Freddie mentioned, we're expanding, or it was expanded, budget lines towards ASI club grants. And this was from the fee increase to $200,000 is to expand the line for ASI club grants, because those are in high demand. $200,000, I believe, last year was awarded to clubs. And as I'm sure you guys have seen from the consent calendar and the finance committee, a lot of clubs are utilizing the resources that ASI provides them, and so that's what that was allocated for, and probably towards budget call too, because of how much high demand that was last year also. And so we're also offering and trying to work with ARO in joint fundraising workshops to help clubs and organizations strengthen resources beyond IRA, because clubs also need to be able to sustain themselves in some way, because you have the grants ASI provides, which to an extent is limited because you get $3,000, or that was increased a little bit, but you get a limited amount for the year. So we're try to be able where you have ASI, IRA, and then you also fundraise so you are able to sustain yourself in any way possible. And honestly, the ultimate goal is the shared goal to be able to use available funds responsibly and transparently, which is what I've been working on with the committee while building new pathways to support student success. Because IRA and all these other requests are really to support students and their academic and career professional paths. And so we understand the frustrations that we've been getting, we really do, and so we're just trying to make the process as equitable and transparent as possible for students.
Since this is an information item and we are end on time, if you have any questions, concerns, or if you need any clarifications, please come to me or President Saleh regarding that.
Thank you. We'll now move forward to item 8.0, reports. First item is 8.1, executive reports, starting with President Saleh.
Hi again. I'm going to speak like 3 times in a meeting. This is cool. But this is my report. If you want to refer to my report, if you have any questions, please let me know. But what I'm working on, a following project that just got is getting the ball rolling, is a second wellness vending machine, because the one that opened in the RSU last year is in high demand. They refill it up 3 times a week, and they still, if they had the resources and the money for it, they would do it more because students are really utilizing that resource. And so we're working on a second wellness vending machine. I've had 2 meetings with the health center. I'm also going to, I think it's SHAFT is the acronym. I know Wendy sits on it. Their committee to get their input on it and to get a second location underway. The way they got funded the machine last year was a grant, and there's another grant for that, so the machine's getting funded. And so if it all works out, hopefully the way it's looking is there would be a proposal for the Senate to provide the funding for the resources in the vending machine that's provided free for students. And that would, hopefully, it would take like 3 months max if it happens, and so it would open in the spring is what we're looking at. And I'm really optimistic about this and really excited. So that's the project I'm working on. And for the rest, please refer to my report and let me know if you have any questions, and I yield the rest of my time.
I'll project my report really quick. I've been meeting with students as well as senators, and it's been great talking to you guys about your initiatives and your projects, and those have been really great. Right now I'm currently working on a pilot internship program to offer more opportunities to students, since one of the top 4 kind of concerns on campus was not having jobs and internships, especially just on campus more than anything. So if you see an entity on campus that you think is impacted and can use an intern, please let me know as I develop a list of potential partners in this initiative. But yeah, and then with that, I yield my time.
Hey guys, I'll be brief as well, but essentially our the only announcement that I have really is our finance training is half concluded. But if you do have any students asking questions about grants or anything, I'm in the office a lot of the time if I'm not in class. So please send them my way, or if I'm not there, if Raina is there, she can help as well. And then also, just FYI, bringing up the Blue Emergency Phone Book again. We're gonna take a tour, hopefully pretty soon, on the path to see if the ones that are up are in the right, if they're in the right places. So if you have any ideas of where more of them should be, I know the Senator Freak Affairs, he suggested one on Creek Row and stuff. So if you have any suggestions on where another one should be, then please let me know. And with that, I yield my time.
Hello everyone. As for me, I'm still working on the project for the London Room. Actually scheduled a meeting with the people behind the gym code with Senator Durham. So we'll be meeting with him on October 15th over Zoom to ask him questions to see the implications of how it could be set up and things like that. I've also reached out to the director out of the residential joints, and we haven't heard anything back yet, but we'll be working on that. So with that being said, please touch my friend.
Hi everyone, so as this year has been starting up again, I have been holding leadership council interviews, and that's been really great. So if you're a college senator, I encourage you, if you don't already have a leadership council, to keep going. I know it can be a process, but if you have any questions or need support, you can reach out to me. I have also had a leadership council meeting this past week, and we for the Carmen Atrium revamp process. So that's been going really good. But yeah, with that, I yield my time.
Hi everyone, it's my first week here, so I haven't been able to do too much, but I've been getting the ball rolling on the parking influx monitoring sensor. I'm going to be meeting with Derek, the parking transportation manager, tomorrow to talk about some of the projects that I'm thinking of, and hopefully by next week I'll be able to report back the value of my time.
Hey guys, the only thing I have for you guys is the student swap meet that I previously said was going to be the first week of October is now being moved to the first week of November. The date has been set for November 4th from 11 to 2. And we will be getting out donation bins around campus by the end of this week, I'm hoping. So, yeah. For any other inquiries, please refer to my report. I yield my time.
Hi everyone. So me and my committee, Alia and Evelyn, are planning to do a movie night in the RSU, and we have the date set. We just already reserved the RSU is going to be in the Stair area. It's going to be October 15 at 6:30. Though we're still figuring out the details, so I know you.
Hi everyone. So I just recently met with my dean, Dr. Zagrapos. Pretty eventful meeting, not gonna lie. I walked in thinking I had a bunch of ideas. She had way more than me, so I was like, okay. But it was pretty good, right? I proposed to her my idea of renovating the lounge area in PHS. I don't know if you guys have ever spent any time in there, but that's currently what I'm working on, along with the movie and the JED committee. But yeah, other than that, that's all I have for today, and with that, I yield my time.
Hi everyone. Some current projects we're working on is a collaboration with OCSL for transfer students. We have a set date for November 19th, I believe. I'm Senator Carrillo and Senator Guzman will also be participating in that. So if you guys want to come out, that would be great. I also have volunteer events that I sent out in the Telegram, so if anybody wants to participate in that, please reach out to me. But other than that, I give my time.
Hi guys, today I went with Vic and we wrangled down some of the engineering college people at the officers council meeting. It is a very interesting and opinionated group, and they needed some circumstances with ASI to be settled because they were very upset, and so I was able to help pitch in on that and support. Also to solicit some opinion from them on doing our upcoming research directory, which we're going to start at the Lyles level because we know those faculty, but then moving towards hopefully getting a better way of dispersing information on what professors are actually doing for research, so it makes it more accessible for students to ask if they want to get involved, and then for professors themselves to advocate. Just overall making Fresno State look better. You know, people want to know what we're doing here. On top of that too, Vic could go more into all that, but I also solicited input on the parking device like about a few weeks ago, and so I'm gonna have a meeting scheduled just to get a quote on what that would look like. I'm happy to defer that to the new senator for parking and transportation, or to work concurrently with that, but I know that is a pressing matter. And then I'm slightly involved with the Greek room, but I'm just more assistance on that. So with that, I defer my time.
Hi everyone. So I know I've updated, I said in the past that we're working on a volunteer day for CSB Fountain in the plaza area. We are going to be pushing that from October 18th to October 25th to give us more time to like flesh out the idea and plan it out. So definitely look out for that, because I would definitely appreciate help with outreach to get people to volunteer and restore the fountain in the Craig School. I'm also working on restoring the Craig School of Business and Leadership Council. So anybody else who has a council, I would appreciate some advice there. I'm also working on finding a space for some of the Craig School business clubs to have on campus to store whatever it may be, whether it's their outreach material, tabling stuff, stuff for their meetings. I noticed that, I just know that in general, it's difficult for clubs to constantly have to ask a board member or a member of the club to store, materials for the club. And so I'm working on trying to find a way to provide a space on campus for our Craig club. So If anybody else has any ideas, or if we want to expand this further to finding a space for all the clubs on campus, I'd really appreciate the ideas. So with that, I yield my time.
Hey guys, anything worth noting on my end would be potentially adding a blue emergency phone box to Sorority Mall. You know, it's not the best area, and adding one could, you know, add a level of contingency to that area. I've spoken with the Panhellenic board, and they seem open to it. And as of right now, it's just looking at the logistics of the operation and seeing where we're going through that. But other than that, please refer to the rest of my report, and I yield my time.
Hi everyone. I'm still recruiting for the Leadership Council. I'm trying to get in contact with Joseph, the cost advisor, and he hasn't responded to me yet, but I'm gonna send another email and see if I could get any of his opinions. And then also something that kind of got into mind a little bit is kind of clearing up the pottery for the cost. I've noticed there's a lot of leaves and then it's kind of getting messy a little bit, so I kind of want to see if I can make a cleanup day. Other than that, I yield my time.
So all I'm working on right now is installing air conditioning in the agriculture science bathrooms. I'm talking to facility and to our deans trying to get that figured out. And with that, I yield my time.
I'm currently working on a Tivoli event for Dia de los Muertos, this month, with me and the Senator of Student Affairs. We still haven't figured out the date yet, but we will just be passing out candy and having a sugar school coloring pages section to de-stress, I guess. And then since it is October, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we'll be also including that to show support and spreading awareness at the table. And with that, I yield my time.
Hi everybody, I'm looking into a volunteering service opportunity in collaboration with the SAAC, which is the Student Athlete. I should know the other A council, but that should be coming up in the next couple of weeks. With that, I yield my time.
Okay, so I'm making headway on my AI and Us events. I'm working on getting a space reserved and figuring out food for everything. I made my website for it and volunteer forms, so I'm really happy about that. And I've gotten a lot of insights from the survey that I put out about that, and I do plan on taking the insights I have from the survey along with the event to that tech day that Enion was talking about for the student panel. And I've been meeting with all the departments, and I have meetings with so many of them coming up as a way to get the word out about the event coming up. For everything else, please refer to my reports. I yield my time.
So we did have our Officers Council meeting today, and I had Senator Hill join me. So, I mean, we did make significant progress in terms of the orgs overall. At least they are beginning to understand that they can't even without it, and they are learning to accept it and move on, and they are looking for alternate solutions. And additionally, we are still working on the undergraduate research directory, and we are working with the elected members of the Officers Council, that is the VP, the Secretary, the Officer at Large. We're trying to get the word out to faculty members, and based on their feedback, we're going to make the necessary changes and mostly move forward with it. And additionally, we had a really good open forum session today at the Officers Council, because a lot of orgs came up with a lot of ideas, and they really want to work with ASI. And yeah, so for any further announcements, please refer to my report.
Hi everyone. So this past weekend we did celebrate the Asian American Studies major, so that was really exciting. Other than that, I'm still recruiting for our Leadership Council, and we've had over 40 applicants, and so we will be closing that application this Sunday and reviewing applications. I'm pretty excited about that. I think we'll probably have a full team this year, so it'll be really fun. My team has a lot of good ideas. I did meet with EVP Prado, and we talked about potential ideas, just as a senator, and she brought up the idea of possibly making our own CSM signs, so that when people graduate, they can keep pictures and stuff. And so I really like that idea. There was also a lot of student requests. I think I mentioned it last students wanted more like designated study areas, but because given the limited space, I don't know how that'll play out. But other than that, I didn't attend.
Thank you, senators, for your report. We'll now open the floor on item 8.3, staff reports. Operation Manager Lizitza, the floor is yours.
I've spoken more than I should in a regular Senate meeting, so I yield my time.
Thank you. We'll now move forward to item 9.0, adjournment. Does any member have any further business before we adjourn this meeting? Seeing none, I'll open the floor for motions on adjournment. Senator Durham?
I motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Senator Nandidia?
Second.
Okay. Is there any competing motion? Any discussion or debate? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? The motion to adjourn passes. I adjourn this meeting of the ASI Student Senate on Wednesday, October 1st, 2025 at 5:21 p.m. As always,